Hi, I'm Andy Griffith. Tonight, my fellow cast members and I are going to take you back to the mythical town of Mayberry that was our home for 8 wonderful years.
This is where we are. Mayberry.
Well, now, that's a dandy little item there. Look at that. Little button that just sticks there and don't fall off.
Mayberry is universal in the lives of a lot of people. I think that was its appeal.
I don't know how many years it ran, but it seemed like I grew up with it.
I love Andy and I love Barney. I loved Floyd the barber.
We got to nip it! Nip it in the bud! Nip it! Let's hear it! Nip it!
Nobody ever made me laugh, ever, like Don Knotts.
I remember wanting a piece of Aunt Bee's pie so bad, always.
Banana cream chocolate pie, zucchini casserole, chicken paprikash.
I think my favorite part of the show was the relationship that Andy had with Opie, the father-son relationship, because it always showed how a father could be a leader, show guidance, and also be a friend to his son.
That tune and those two had...
The Andy Griffith Show Reunion is hosted by the star of the series, Andy Griffith. Andy's special guest stars are Don Knotts, Ron Howard, Jim Neighbors, George Lindsay, and Jack Dodson. Ladies and gentlemen, our host, Andy Griffith.
Here we are, over 30 years later, back in Mayberry, North Carolina. Now, you won't find Mayberry on any map of North or South Carolina, because Mayberry was a mythical town, kind of state of mind. Over the years, a lot of people have come to believe that Mayberry is based on my hometown, and it's not, because real towns have real problems that have to be dealt with. All of Mayberry's problems were solved in half an hour. It was a place full of joy, sometimes a lot of laughs, and always a lot of love. The show started on February 15th, 1960, on Danny Thomas's television series. I played Sheriff Andy Taylor and cited Danny for a moving violation. The show went on the air. I got a phone call, an important phone call. It changed the shape, form, and destiny of our show. It was from an old friend of mine who said, "Don't you need a deputy?" A good idea, very good idea.
You see, Andy, I want the folks in this town to realize that you picked me to be your deputy because you looked over all the candidates for the job, and you judged their qualifications and their character and their ability, and you come to the fair, the just, and the honest conclusion that I was the best suited for the job. And I want to thank you, Cousin Andy.
Well, I'll take care of it right away. Yes, ma'am. Bye. Miss Peterson's Fluffy's on the roof again.
This is a time for pussycats with a killer on the loose.
Well, Fluffy's got kittens, and you know how you feel seeing your mother on the roof.
You can bet on it, Andy. There's a bank robber stalking our streets. It's stakeout time.
Leave the rival alone.
Oh, now I can't even drive a car. Is that it? You're afraid to ride with me. Is that it?
Forget I mentioned it.
Just in case you're worried, I won't make a move without you. Is everything clear?
Looks all clear to me.
Okay to go?
Give her the gun.
Fine. Andy!
How'd you do it, Barney? How'd you nail him? Did he rush you? Well, say something. Well, what's the matter, Barney?
I swallowed my gum. You ready?
May I introduce the finest comedy actor that I have ever known, and winner of 5 Emmys for his role as Barney Fife, my longtime friend and former deputy sheriff, Mr. Don Knotts.
Yes?
Yes, that's his real first name.
Yeah, that's right. And ever since Andy found out I didn't like that name, he's been calling me that.
Yeah. People used to think that we just showed up and did all that funny stuff off the top of our head.
Not likely, huh?
One thing people remember about Barney, he was only allowed to have 1 bullet.
Yeah, and I had to keep that one in my pocket.
Yeah.
You know, over the years, everyone I run into seems to want to give me a bullet. I bet I've got 1,000 of them.
Your sidearm, please.
Sir?
Your pistol. It is a pistol?
Oh, yes, sir.
There aren't any bullets in this gun.
Oh, well, Barney keeps his bullet in his pocket.
In his pocket?
Mm-hmm.
Well, why don't you put it in the pistol where it belongs?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Case,
Stand aside, deputy. I'm going to break that leg. No, you ain't. Yes, I ain't. No, you ain't. Now, you drop that rock and you get over here. No, I wouldn't go anywhere without the old Roscoe. Don't persuade her. Blue steel baby.
and take that gun out of your mind.
Is that a pretty good camera?
Yeah, why?
Well, it's just that my fast draw has never been successfully photographed. All they've been able to get so far is a sort of a blur. Let me show you what a bullet ought to look like. Now, there's bullet maintenance.
Oh, Barney, that's beautiful. I've heard about your bullet, Barney. Beautiful.
We'll be ready for it.
Andy will be right back with Ron Howard and some rare home movies.
First show was called The New Housekeeper, and it was about Aunt Bee coming to live with us. Aunt Bee was played by a wonderful actress, Frances Bavier. She's gone now. But Aunt Bee was a perfect homemaker, gardener, cook. She was the matriarch of our family. In that first show, she established a relationship with Opie so warm and so caring that it became one of the foundations of our series. Ron Howard. We used to call him Ronnie. He was 6 years old when we started the show, and he didn't know how to read yet. His father and mother would teach him his lines. By the time the show was finished, 8 years later, of course, he could read and write, and he had turned into a fine actor. But as you can see from this little sketch, Ronnie was pretty good right from the start. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Ron Howard. Pretty good sketch, huh?
Well, it was pretty well written, and it's pretty truthful. I mean, as a dad myself now, I can relate to Andy in that situation.
That's a sketch that you could get in a lot of trouble. You could fall on your face with that. I mean, the sketch, the father. I was the straight man. You were the kid with all the comedy lines.
Well, it was a little unusual, though, for our show.
Yeah, though we went many different ways. I used to watch you and your father, and the fine, caring relationship that you had and still do. And we would borrow some of that for our show.
Well, I remember him always wanting, you know, wishing that Opie wouldn't be the sort of typical kind of wisecracking kid on a TV show, but would have real respect for his father. Maybe he just didn't want me getting into bad habits on the show that he wouldn't be able to handle at home. I don't know.
Was it your mother that took some home movies?
They both would bring the camera in once in a while, and those are precious home movies to me.
Yeah.
Oh, there we are, joking around. Probably making fun of my mom. She was always carrying that camera around. But I'm glad now she did. There's Jim. Oh, well, see, I just loved going on location because that whole place would become like a playground. Most of the time we filmed on a stage, but the days when we got to go out was always something that I looked forward to. I'd get to ride my skateboard around, you know, there I am playing with a yo-yo. I'd get to ride my bike all over the place and visit some of the other sets. You know, the real McCoy's house was not far from here. Some of the sets from Gone with the Wind were still standing. In between times, I'd get to fool around, practice playing a little baseball. It really was kind of like living in a small town and having the run of that town.
That's wonderful footage to have.
Oh, it sure is.
Yeah.
Well, we had a lot of fun behind the scenes making the show, and well, you know what? You and Don were always funny. You know, just even in the wardrobe or in makeup.
Mostly Don.
Well, you just start making up these bits, and then you'd hone in on them. Once in a while, they'd show up on the show. Remember the memory bit?
In a moment, Andy will be joined by Jim Neighbors and George Lindsay.
For one time, he told me that this salesman had come by his place. He's all tired and he's harried. Said the fella sat down and said, "Boy, wish I could go to Mayberry." And that was the feeling that Mayberry conjured up. It was quiet, peaceful, funny, and had been completely bypassed by the reality and difficulty of the outside world.
The last big buy I made was my mom's and dad's anniversary present.
What'd you get them?
Septic tank.
For the anniversary?
Yeah. Well, they're really hard to buy for. Besides, it was something they could use. Really thrilled. 2 tons of concrete, all steel reinforced.
You're a fine son, Mark.
Try.
I just looked at the thermometer over the door. You know what it is?
92?
92. Like an oven inside it. Hot? Oh, it is hot.
Well, as Mark Twain said, everybody complains about the weather, but nobody does anything about it.
He say that?
Mm-hmm.
I thought Calvin Coolidge said that.
No, Floyd. Calvin Coolidge didn't say that.
What'd Calvin Coolidge say?
I don't know.
You sure Mark Twain didn't get that from Calvin Coolidge?
No, Floyd. Mark Twain lived before Calvin Coolidge.
Oh, he couldn't have got it from no.
You know, you never know when something good's going to come your way. I got forced into going to a nightclub one time out in California to see this fella work. I didn't want to go, but there I was in the audience, and he was working. And me and the rest of that audience were going crazy. I saw him out on the sidewalk afterwards, and I said, "I don't know what you do, but whatever it is, you do it very well." And a little later, a part came up on our show. He read for it, And I'd like you to meet Mayberry's finest gas station attendant, Gomer Pyle, Mr. Jim Neighbors.
Hey, Andy.
You were good and you are good.
Oh, thanks. You know, I really enjoyed playing Gomer because he was a real naive character, or as Don used to say, naive. But
yeah.
Very first episode that I did was Man in a Hurry, which always meant a lot to me because I had never acted before. And when I first read for the part, they thought my accent was a little exaggerated, I remember. And you said, well, heck, said Aaron, says, a lot of old boys down home talk like that. But I always enjoyed doing that, really did.
No, we got to get some guy that's not been around too much. You know, really naive. Some guy with not too much upstairs.
Yeah.
In other words, a real dope.
Hey, Andy. Hey, Barney.
Say you ain't had any luck finding a job, huh?
No, but I'm going over to the market now. They're advertising for an experienced butcher.
You know anything about cutting meat?
You think they'll ask me that?
How come the bucket?
Uh-huh. Sergeant said I wasn't thinking, so he clamped this thing on my head and said it'd help me to think. And you know something? He's right. I've been sitting there with this bucket on my head and just thinking and thinking and thinking.
What were you thinking about, Gomer?
How easy it is to think under there. You gonna try it?
No, thanks.
Go on, put it on and take a think under there.
I did take a think under there. Talking about Gomer being Mayberry's finest gas station attendant. Say hello to Mayberry's other finest gas station attendant, Goober Pyle, George Lindsay.
Hey, Andy.
Hey, Goober.
Well, I tell you, I had a hard time playing Goober after Jim played Gomer so well, and I finally got it when I realized that Goober had the potential to be almost nearly smart. And he likes salt.
You like salt?
Yeah. I came to you the first week I was on the show, and I said, tell me about Goober, you know, characterization. You said, well, he's the kind of guy that would go into a restaurant and say, hey, this is great salt. That don't take much, does it?
But he was very talented.
Oh, yeah.
Say hey to my cousin Goober.
Hey, Goober.
Hey, Andy.
We was gonna go to the picture show and thought maybe you might like to go too.
I can't, Gomer. I got to work.
It's a Cary Grant movie.
I know.
Goober never does miss a Cary Grant movie. Did you ever hear him take off on Cary Grant?
No, Gomer.
Goober, do Cary Grant for Andy.
Oh.
Come on, he ain't never heard you.
Oh, Gomer.
Come on, do it, you do it.
Listen, Gomer, if he don't want to.
I'll do it.
Attaboy. Wait a minute, Andy. Close your eyes.
What?
Close your eyes. Listen to this. He's gonna take off on Cary Grant. Go, Goob. Judy, 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 Judy. Couldn't you just swear Cary Grant was right here in this room? Judy, 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 Judy. Oh, God, how you can do that?
Yeah, listen, Gomer.
You know who else he can do?
No.
Edward G. Robinson. Do Edward G. Robinson for him, Goober. Listen to this, Andy.
Do I have to close my eyes?
No, keep them open. Go on, Goob. Edward G. Robinson.
Okay, you guys. Come on, you guys. All right, you guys. Beat it, you guys.
See why I didn't want you to close your eyes? He looks just like Edward G. Robinson. Don't he look just like him?
Yeah, he looks a lot like Edward G. Robinson.
Ain't he got talent? Goober, you really got talent.
Yeah, Goober, you really got talent. Listen, Goober.
I have a hard time keeping up with all these talented individuals. Goober could take a car apart
and put it back together.
And Gomer was a dancing fool. He could jitterbug all night long.
Yeah, and Barney could sing like an angel.
Coming up, the episode almost everyone agrees is the best Andy Griffith Show.
Howard McNear never said his lines the same way twice. He made the character of Floyd Lawson, Mayberry's barber, so real that sometimes I'd have to catch myself, because if I hadn't, I would have just stopped to watch him work. He was a wonderful man and a very funny man. And we all miss him.
A man doesn't become a barber overnight. It's work, training, work.
I'm sure it is. I'm sorry.
You just can't walk in off the street and be a barber.
No, I'm sorry.
It's okay. And beside that, you have to have a license.
Lloyd's been barbering folks around here since most of us was just young'uns.
Really?
Yeah.
I always did want to be a barber. Even when I was a little tiny kid, I used to practice on cats. Cats? Yeah, I'd catch them in the alley, then I'd clip them and everything. Oh? We had the baldest cats in the county.
Boy, oh boy. Just once, I'd like to have them sideburns come out even.
What are you talking about? Wait a minute. Now look at that. 1 inch from the lobe.
What's the matter with you? One of them sideburns is short.
Well, maybe that's because one of your lobes is longer than the other. There we go, Sheriff.
Lord.
Oh, what's the matter?
My sideburn.
Your sideburn? What's the matter with sideburn?
Why, they're both even.
They're both even? Well, what do we do? Well, I'll be dogged. How'd that happen? Love just happens. Two people just fall together.
What do you know about love?
What do I know about love? You can't cut hair for 30 years without learning something.
The dog. Pass the bread to the boys.
Okay, Pa.
Okay, have some pickles. Thank you. They love that red tomato here. Oh, a little salt here. Bread!
What happened?
Mr. Darling put in a request for additional bread, ain't B?
Oh, didn't I yell loud enough?
Oh, you must be big eaters.
Oh, word no, there's a family of hearty-eating men and beautiful, delicate women now.
You know who's back in town, don't you? What's that?
Hi, Steve Bass, you come in here.
Howdy do to you and you. It's me, it's Ernestine.
All that ride, jump in the fire, fire too hot, jump in the pot, pot too black, jump in the crack, crack too high, jump in the sky, sky too blue, jump in canoe, canoe too shallow, jump in the tallow, tallow too soft, jump in the loft, loft too rotten, jump in the cotton, cotton so white she stayed there all night.
Well, Mr. Bass, you have all of your teeth. Where were you planning to put the gold one?
Oh, right here in front, see these three here? I was gonna knock them out, put the gold one right in the center, leaving space on each side. That'd stand out better that way.
Especially when I'm dancing.
Howie Mars.
Funny.
Yeah. I think that might have been his favorite character.
He directed some of the shows later, too.
A lot of them. He's a good director. Yeah. And that's, again, where Mayberry actually came from. Mayberry came from the imaginations of a lot of very inventive people, writers, directors, you, your father, your mother.
Well, I remember wanting to be a part of that, you know, and I once in a while, even as a little kid, I was 6 in the first season when we were doing the show, I'd throw out an idea every once in a while and it would sort of get dismissed, and I'd notice that they weren't taking my idea, you know, and I actually remember the first time that an idea got accepted. It was in our 2nd season, and we were doing a scene in the jail, and I was supposed to make an entrance and say something, and I remember stopping and saying, you know, I don't think a kid would say that line that way. And Bob Sweeney kind of looked at me, he was directing that episode, and said, well, how would a kid say it? And I tried it another way, and he said, okay, well, do it that way. And started to rehearse the scene again, and I was just kind of standing there grinning. And you said, Ronnie, what's the matter? And I said, well, that's the first idea of mine that anybody ever accepted. And you said, well, that's the first idea that was any darn good. Now let's do the scene. Well, you created an environment, you know, as the head of the show, an environment that really encourage people to bring their ideas with them to work, you know, and boy, when somebody would come up with a good idea, you'd laugh so hard you'd be crying. I mean, it was a very collaborative place.
It wasn't only me. It was Sheldon Leonard who created our show, and Aaron Rubin who produced it.
The tolerance, the patience, the common sense, all of those qualities were the qualities that make for a perfect father. Just as Opie ultimately made for the perfect son. And the relationship between father and son was the most important ingredient in the show for me.
When people say, what's your favorite show? You know, I did 150 myself, 5 years. We did 30 in those days, 30 a season. And one I remember in particular was one in which Opie accidentally kills a bird, a mother bird, with his slingshot.
Still to come, a roll call of the show's most memorable characters.
The town filled with wonderfully colorful characters. One of them was Howard Sprague, the county clerk, played by Jack Dodson.
Yeah, Howard was kind of strange, but once he cut those apron strings and got out from under his mother's thumb, joined the lodge, and went fishing with the guys, he became a regular fella and sort of fit right in. Here are some of the other wonderful characters who lived in Mayberry. Anita Corso as Helen Crump. Betty Lynn as Thelma Lou. Hal Smith as Otis Campbell. Hope Summers as Clara Edwards. Dick Elliott as Mayor Pike. Clint Howard as Leon. Parley Bear as Mayor Roy Stone. Cheerio Meredith as Emma Watson. Jack Burns as Warren Ferguson. And Paul Hartman as Emmett Clark.
When we started making the old Griffith Show, all we wanted to do was make it as good as possible. And I guess we must have done something right. The show has never been off the air for over 30 years. Again, you won't find our town of Mayberry on a map, but it has found a place in our hearts and minds and memories. You have made that so, and for that, I thank you.
In a moment, Andy will be joined by the cast to sing the Mayberry Union High School Anthem.
Mayberry Union High, victory is yours, well nigh. We'll hit the line for points every time. The orange and blue will try. And when the victory's won, you'll be our favorite son. Proud waves your banner in the sky. Mayberry Union High.
Transportation provided by U.S. Air with more than 2,700 flights a day throughout the United States, Canada,